Hello to my little corner of the internet. If you're wondering why I look so sweaty, it is because I am sweaty, because we have serious heat here in Tokyo. It's very humid. I don't have an air conditioner in this room, and the fan that I'm using to keep my body function is switched off because it would interfere with the mic. If the wind would be blowing into the mic, you couldn't hear what I'm saying. So I just have to stand the heat. So if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the studio, so to speak. And just keep the window open. I'm exposed to the Tokyo heat, and if you hear any kind of police cars or fire brigade or whatever, it is because there's a fire station fairly close by, and you have to do some compromises here, I guess. So this is the environment that I have to work in to deliver my content to you guys. The sacrifices we make. Today I'd like to talk about walk cycles, because there have been a few requests on my channel to do walk cycles. I firstly have to admit that I'm not great at walk cycles, honestly. So I'm kind of bungling my way through them myself as I go along, so bear with me. There might be a lot of bungles and things I don't figure quite well. Okay, let's just do a walk cycle with her in this little example here. So what you want to start with is actually the extreme position of where the legs are furthest apart. That's what I normally start with. You want to cycle it from extreme pose to extreme pose because it's much easier to do that way. But maybe you have to do a pre-walk cycle little animation to get her into the walk cycle. So she would have to get into the walk cycle by doing half a step forward. You normally want to have a cycle to be from the extreme position to the other extreme position. Let's go somewhere here. Yeah, this is about, and then you have 24 frames. And the same position again. And the middle position would be just the opposite here. And look, and this is already, so just to make sure, this is also quite important. This is a 3/4 pose. So of course your legs, if they're crossed like this, they're not going to be long enough to have exactly the same. If you go here, it's just not long enough, as you can see. So for this to look natural, you have to adjust the extreme position of the, let's go away with this, of this here a bit, and you want to copy this over so that it's at least semi. Yeah, let's make a walk cycle here. It'll of course all, no, this is nonsense. I only want to cycle the last thing, and it goes all the way to the beginning. So you go relative, and you go 23 frames, one short of 24, because the first frame of course is not part of the. So there we go. So now she's gliding here. Not very natural yet, but you can see the pace is a bit fast, and probably would give her a slower walking, but you can adjust that later. You can take the whole walk cycle and stretch it later. So let's just stick with something that's easy to work with, because we have 24 frames and it's easy to subdivide and stuff. The pace can be altered later without problems. Okay, next thing you want to be in the middle here. Want to make sure that your leg, which she's going to stand on, this is in the first thing, is actually the hind leg is actually absolutely below here, straight down below, so you get a straight leg. Same here, front leg in this case has to be exactly below. Okay, next thing is the hip. So we're going to have the hip here, and it's got to be gone. She's going to get lower, her hip will be lower here, I'm pretty sure. Cycle this again, make sure that every time you use you animate a new bone, make sure that you cycle it properly, otherwise it's just going to do this thing once. Okay, here the hip has to be at the highest point. You want to stretch that leg entirely, but as I told you, this is a 3/4 model, so if you have the same height here, it'll not be enough for this here. Oh, it will be. Oh, that's rare. Good, fair enough. So we have, so now her hip's moving, but not really enough. So you want to move the hip down a bit, not this one, a bit down here, just enough to stretch her leg. Down here too, and you have to recycle it again. And yes, I don't understand why. It would be nice if you could just select a range and you say do a cycle of that range. So it's a bit better. And the reason this is still very unnatural is, of course, you got to lift the legs, right? So at the highest point, what happens is, of course, that you lift your the leg you're not standing on, so that your foot can pass, right? And again, this depends on what kind of walk you want to have. You could go a little, if it's a bit more of a slurry walk, your foot could even touch the ground a bit, so you kind of scratch your feet. If you want them to march, if you want your character to do like marching or something, would be this way up. You have your march thing going on here, right? We just want to have a normal walk cycle, so I go somewhere here. This is also very much a feeling thing. I'm not going to get very mathematical, so at least your foot has to be able to pass through here. But you would usually go a little bit higher than this, because there's going to be this kick motion when she stretches the leg, which you also want to have, and so you want to have a bit more pace here. Same here. So you've got to keep the foot here on the ground. Want to open, and the foot goes down here a bit. Yeah, this is where the foot's passing. And again, yeah, now it gets complicated because we have the foot's here on the ground. The foot here is a bit more bent, maybe. Got to do this twice again. Always make sure if you change anything on the first frame, you have to make the according changes on the last frame, or it's not gonna. You're gonna have some jaggy thing going on. Yeah, so the feet are now weird. You have to now change the angle of the feet. Make sure, boom. Here, this foot has to be on the ground firmly. Actually, it's got another change. Here is of course nonsense. You have the kick here, so actually you want to have her heel to dig in, but the foot stays up here. This one has to go a bit more flat. She's still on the ground here, right? Maybe just even move this down a bit. Here, solidly on the ground. Boom. Completely wrong. Again, we're kicking in here. That's the heel's kicking in. It's a bit too high, I think, even. Oh shit. Gotta move this thing a bit more here, I guess. So probably with these two, you just want to, oops, there is no cycle. Every time you see you have a bone you're moving and there's no cycle going on, you got to set it up new for her. So I'm going to copy these over to the first frame to make sure they sync up. And of course now they're set to cycle, which is wrong. Go to smooth. Getting better, but her feet are still moving in a weird way. Boom. So what I normally do then, so you have this kick here, where he kicks the heel in, and like 2 frames after that, or sometimes 3, I want her foot to be firmly on the ground. So you kick your foot, and then because you put your weight on the foot, it has to go down to hold that weight. So you got 2 or 3 frames in there. You boom, your foot goes flat on the ground, as flat as you can. Same here, on 2 frames in. Flat on the ground, flat on the ground. Okay. Now I just noticed actually that this one has a cycle. This one doesn't have a cycle. See. Just make sure you. Hello. Yeah, there we go. So always double check when you move any bone that it's part of the cycle. Relative 23. Getting better, getting better. Yeah, we have a bit of a kick going on. Not bad. One more thing I want to do. This is also very important for a walk cycle. If you have a rig that allows you to switch the targeting of your arm pin targets on and off, and I highly recommend to have that, to have that option, because you don't always want to target. You want to switch it off, because target bones, the bones generally, if you move them, pin bones from A to B, they go in a straight line. Logically, right? So what happens is if you want to do the arm swing and you have like the extreme position and you have the down position and the back position, your arm swing will be going in a straight line. And that's not how swinging works. A pendulum doesn't go in a straight line. It goes in a pendular, hence the name motion. So you don't want to have pin bones moving your arms here. So let's switch off the targeting here. And later on, if you swing the arms just using the bones and not the target bones, you'll have naturally pendular motion, which looks much better. Just as a quick tip. Going back. So as I said, so we have, why is it still on? Damn it. Off. Ugh. Stay off. Yeah, okay, so not bad. So of course her upper body is very stiff. We can deal with this later. For now, I just want to do a bit of an arm swing here. And as you know, all mammals, I think all animals with a spine, they have this cross walk or whatever you call it. So when your left foot is most front, your right arm is most front, and vice versa. It goes over cross. Same with four-legged animals. Instead of them being vertical oriented, they're just horizontal oriented, but it's exactly the same. So the front, so if you have those two legs here, you have this one's front, so it goes always over cross. Okay, that means, very simply speaking here, her right leg is front, so her left arm will be front at the most extreme position, and it's not going to be stretched out. Why? Second, same here, because now this one should actually be stretched out. Just think of the motion we're talking about here. When your arm swings, your most stretched moment is actually shortly before the most extreme position. When you kind of swing your arm back, you get this slightly overshoot when your arm actually bends then at that moment. You're not going to have this stiff swinging, but you have a stiff arm, and at the most extreme position, you kind of overshoot where your arm bends a little bit, then it goes back, and so on. Yeah. However, the other way around, your arm cannot overshoot because it just goes straight and can't go more than straight. So that means the extreme position will be straight. So again, to look at this here, that means if her arm is back at the extreme position, it'll be straight, not more than that. And at the front, it will be at the overshoot. Yeah. So I select these bones. I'm going to put me up here, copy them over. So we got this. Nothing's happening yet, and now we go the opposite movement is this one's kind of here. This one's stretched. Okay. Let's now see. All those bones have to be selected again. And cycle, come on, cycle them. 23. Yeah, not bad. And again, her upper body is a bit stiff. So you could now do, there's several ways. You could have the body just bend a little bit. That's one way of doing it. You could go squash and stretch, depending. That could also be funny, you know, if it's a bit of bouncy walk. There's so many ways to. I mean, this is now a matter of personality, not a matter of right or wrong. What kind of personality will your character have? What kind of walk will they have? You know, some might have a bouncy walk, some have a marching walk. Or it might even be a matter of emotion. If she's angry, she'll be like stomping and have a very different walk when she's like walking neutrally. You know, so in her case, you could try. Let's just try maybe. So the idea is. So when you're up there, you're straightening your body a bit, I guess. So maybe her chest goes even out a bit more than that. I'm in completely unknown territory, and I'm just trying stuff. Okay. And here, on the lowest position, your body's probably going to be a bit more bent. You know, a bit more. You could even go as far as moving the hips over a bit. Actually, that could actually make sense. I'm not sure. It could be freaking ridiculous. So bear with me. This could be completely ridiculous. Let's just see if this works or not. I have no idea. Boom. Yeah, that's a bit too. The hip has to go back here. Reset the angle. Where's the angle? Boom. I get the feeling this is a bit much, but worth a try. You know. What the fuck's going on? It's too much. That's the thing also that these things with a walk cycle have to be extremely subtle, or they might feel very, very over the top. Let's just see. So let's see how this walk cycle looks like with her being a bit more shaky booty. Yes, a bit much. See, there's a bit too much. But you get my drift, you know. Now you can start tweaking. It's a bit too... voicemail. Maybe keep her head straight. That's one thing. But that could also be a bit robotic then. That's the other question. Hey. Won't the angle be up there? Didn't I say 0? Damn it. 0, 0, 0, 0. Cycle again. Yeah, I think that hip wobble is a bit too much. It's a bit, yeah. What's the angle there? Straight with, not the wrong ones. This is 90, no, okay, so minus 93, 94. Is a bit, and but you get the drift, the walk cycle. So she starts walking here, and then she boom, boom, boom. Now the question is, when we want her to stop walking, what normally people do when they stop, actually, they take another tiny step. So because you can't just from a good pace go boom, stop. So what happens a lot is actually that you have the last step you take before you stop is smaller. So you go like walk, 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 walk. And just this quick going. So you might actually want to freeze frame one step before that. So let's say we have a walk. Bum, 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 bum. What's the freeze frame here, and then have her go, whoops, here, hip up, leg up. Oh, damn it. Foot up, foot down, flat. So it's kind of at least half a step. It's a bit better. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. It's still too slow, maybe. This whole thing needs to be a bit sped up. Yeah, that kind of works. It's a bit abrupt, but I think it works. Okay, now we have this whole walk cycle going here. Now, how do we move her? Well, the easiest way is to just take the layer and move the layer. Now you got to figure out what her pace is. So you put one key, whoops, you put one key, damn it, don't move it. Keyframe here, and well, she actually, essentially she really stops moving forward here. She's still moving here, actually, you see? This is where she stops moving. Just puts her foot down, okay? So the movement would gear up to this frame. I know how fast, you'd have to just figure it out. Oh, that's actually pretty close, but she's already... so the... yeah, if you of course use smooth movement, it's nonsense. So I usually use linear movement. Works best. You could still do Bezier and do a little bit of ease in out or something, but most of the time that doesn't really work. It's kind of weird because you start gliding, moonwalking, and then suddenly it works, and suddenly you're moonwalking again. So again, linear works best most of the time. What you then do is, if you have this walk cycle here, it's a bit too slow. See, she's moving, she's gliding too much. So she has to walk across the screen faster. I think the overall pace is just still not enough. She has to move a bit more. Yeah, still moonwalking. Let her walk, walk. Even more. There's still some moonwalking going on here, especially at here. So at the end of the walk cycle, I mean, she's kind of static here, right? That's where the movement starts picking up again. So you're like almost static, static, and that's where the movement picks up again. So go a bit back, static, moving, boom. Here starts movement again. Stop. So, yeah. Again, so at the extreme positions here, you're kind of almost static. That's what I meant. There's not much movement going on right here. He's just, you know, shifting weight, basically. Shifting weight. Now moving, it's happening again. So go move her a bit. And now, of course, her walk seems very heavy. So I would have to actually adjust the whole hip movement. Is probably not the best. Let's just remove this and see what we can do with squash and stretch. That might actually be also for animation actually funnier, except for the up-down movement here. Just the angular movement we're going to remove here. Okay. So she's just really straight, and let's do a little bit of squash and stretch and see if this is better. Again, it's another thing I hate about the newest version of Moho. They took away the command key to do squash and stretch. Before it was command, and if you then hover over a bone, you would get a squash and stretch. You can't do that anymore. That is just stupid. I've been doing this excessively. Now I have to select the goddamn bone. I have to go in here and drag the scale number. That is just the dumbest thing ever. It's just really. And you can't undo that with one go. If I go up 7, you have to undo 7 times. Is one movement. Any other application, if you do in one go, draw a slide and you undo, you would undraw the slider, not undraw every step of the slider. It's just this is stuff that really have not improved. It's really not better than before. So anyway, let's do squash and stretch. So so this would be a bit squashed here, and go back to smooth. I think smooth as the default. Yeah, so this would be a bit squashed here. Maybe go 98. It doesn't have to be much. Straight down. So again, just do this here. Down, squash, squash. This one's reset. Stretch, stretch. Cycle the thing. 93. A bit more, maybe. It's not enough. 96. Seems a bit much. Let's try. And her head also. Same here. Boom. I don't need a... No, I don't want this. I want the size. 97. Yeah, it's fair enough. Here, here, here. Reset, reset, and cycle. Now let's see what the squash and stretch does. Yeah, so the squash and stretch works because it feels you almost don't see it. It's still a bit a bit heavy. Yeah, so you got to tweak this stuff. For every character it's different because their rig is different. The way when you squash them, stretch them, and move them, it all feels different. You know, of course, as I said, if you want her to march, you could do stuff like going like this. You know, and the pace will of course be different. You know, whoops. You could go like marching. Have her march here. And then in that case, if you have a march like this, of course you would have her set the foot, boom, down like this, right? It wouldn't be that far either. It would be shorter. It wouldn't be going all the way here. So it'd be probably closer to here and less pace. So if you have a march, it would be a bit more like that. And running, I don't want to get into this. So anyway, this is how I do walk cycles. It's a lot of tweaking because every situation is different too. Where's the normal walk cycle? How many undos do I have to do to get this back? Damn it. What the hell? Okay, so I'm back here. Another thing you want to do, if you have her walk from the very back of the room, you know, oops. That's another thing where you gotta, yeah, now I gotta remove all these intermittent things, of course, because it's gonna be awkward. Get a bag bigger. So if you wanna have this kind of have a come closer to the front, and again you have to adjust the pace and stuff. And here, Procella does a side walk in a way, but she, as you can see, she's walking a little bit from the background to the midground. It's a normal walk, and she stands. So the most difficult part of a walk cycle is basically like with a plane. Flying is easy. Walk cycles usually are perpetually cycling. So while they're walking, it's easy. You do it once and you keep on walking forever. The hard part is the getting off the ground and landing in the plane. And same here. The hard part is to starting the walk cycle and stopping it so it looks natural. So here, I was lucky enough because I cut in the scene where she just walks already. Don't have to worry about this. And then when she stops, just to make sure it's yeah, that worked pretty well actually. There, it's kind of natural where she stops. And then there's a second scene where she walks. There's a bit of talk going on. Pretty long. The lights go out. Blah blah blah. And come on, let's go back on. And I think after this she starts walking again. She gets up. And then camera cut. Hello, hello, come on, camera. Yeah, and she starts bitching about. And I think now she should be walking back. Yeah, so there's another cut here. Boom, and now she starts walking. Yeah, walk cycle. Walks through the ghost, stops again. And there's another challenge with walk cycles. If you look at it very closely, what happens a lot is a certain glidiness of the feet. So the feet seems like they're gliding a bit, and you try to avoid this as much as you can by finding just the right pace for the walk cycle. In truth, the thing is you cannot have a fully continuous motion of the body when you have a walk cycle, because in every walk cycle there are phases where the body actually isn't really moving forward, or the feet, and phases where they're actually creating more forward motion. So I think I adjusted for this to a certain degree at the beginning. There is one place I think where I really just move my head up here a bit. Yeah, I think here. So here I'm going here. See this one here. This is the when I move the character. So move, stop, stop, move, stop, stop, move. So it seems more natural. There's less. It's still a bit of glidiness here. You can see here, but it's a bit better, and so you can adjust for that by not having a continuous motion and playing with, you know, if you're going to use linear motion or smooth motion or use Bezier curves or whatever works for you, and however detailed you want to go there and accurate, you know. Because in most cases, if they walk and talk, people will pay more attention to actually their talking and their emotional, the facial expressions and whatever. And so you don't have to be that precise because your attention is going elsewhere. Walk cycles entirely from the side are easy, but they almost never happen because, again, you almost never film, even with real film, your character entirely from the side. It's just very unnatural, you know. So it's always at a certain angle, like 3/4 is most common, and then you have to deal with things like they walk in a perspective, of course. They come from the other end of the screen, walk towards the screen most likely, or the other way around. So you have to also deal with increasing their size, make sure that the way they walk, they actually don't walk straight, because it's this perspective diagonal line they're following. It's not easy. And of course, the hardest walk cycle I find is frontal walk cycles. I made one a long time ago with fungus and mold. That's episode 2, so that must be like 4-5 years ago. 5 years now. 3-4 years ago. And I can show you one. That's the one frontal walk cycle that I actually have ever successfully done. This is the walk cycle here. And I also got away with it because I don't really show the feet, which is actually not necessarily not. I just want to show them large. They're talking. You want to see their faces, you know. It's not like a cop-out, because even if you would show the whole scene here, the feet look okay. it's a bit floppy, it's a bit whoop, whoop, whoop. Could be a bit smoother, but I've seen worse, And if you wonder how I did the 3D motion here, actually, this is one of the rare cases where I use 2.5D, which Moho does. So the whole scene actually is in a 3D space. So there's the backdrop, it's one image. There's the mid-ground, whatever you want to call this. Oddly enough, Alice, or the robot, is behind it. So this somehow made sense in perspective. I don't know, there's a good reason for it. It's just long ago, I don't remember why. But as long as, again, if it looks good, it's good. It doesn't matter whether it's perspectively correct. Seems to work. And then Gluck is at the front. And so the camera, what's happening here actually, if you look at it, the whole motion thingy, so they both walk, actually do walk towards the camera, but the camera too, with them, is moving backwards. I just think they move a little bit faster than the camera. That's why they look like they're still coming towards the camera. But the camera too is moving with it, because it's a fairly long scene. I think, yeah, so if you look at this, if you're really picky, you would notice that actually at that walking pace, they would be walking through that corridor much quicker. But I had to keep them at a slower pace in order to last long enough so they can have that conversation while they're walking. I had to slow down the pace with which they advance. And for the most part, you don't really notice it because you pay more attention to them talking and their facial expression and what's going on elsewhere. And so it's okay. Yeah, that's the thing with this scene, basically. And also the shoulders here, that is a bit janky. It's not very smooth. That flipping really stands out. Yeah, to this day, this is the most magical moment. Every single time when I draw a character and I start tracing it, put the bones in and all this tedious mechanical constructive work that is not very creative, and then the moment when you do your first rig test, when it suddenly starts talking, moving, expressing emotions, and it comes to life. That is really, I feel like Dr. Frankenstein. It's alive! It is amazing. And that is why I'm still doing this. Although I'm not really, it's not like I want to be a great animator, and animating is so much fun. It is fun, animating. Rigging is a drag. Background artwork is a drag for me. I absolutely abhor it. I hate it. I do not want to do it. But animating is actually fun because that's why you breathe life into the thing. You act. You're an actor when you animate because, well, there is the voice actor, but you still have all that freedom of what facial expressions do I want this character to do, what body language do I want it to have, how will it move. The whole locking the scene thing, it happens when you animate it, when you decide, okay, is he going to walk across the screen, is he going to do some weird other thing. This is the second time when you actually act the part, apart from the voice actor. And of course, what you act out there has to support what the work the voice actor did, but it's still magical and it's still very special. And that's why I like it. Just as a caveat, as to not disorient people why certain things I do, I seem to be lazy, I seem to cut corners, I seem to be going the easy way. And sometimes, as I say, even with the animation where I say you have this gliding look, I don't care if it's a bit gliding, if it's not perfect, because I don't want to be the perfect great animator. I just want to get this animation done. I want it to be good enough so people can watch it and enjoy it. My end goal is not becoming an animator or get hired by a studio. I'd be happily handing off all that animation, rigging and background artwork to other people who are way better than me, way more efficient than me, so I could focus on script writing, storytelling, and just designing the characters and thinking about how to run the show and stuff like that. If you're looking to do kind of Disney level stuff with Moho, you can do that. I can show you a few examples later on that some people have done it. I have no ambitions to go there because it's not where I'm going. This is a sitcom. That alone means that we're talking about cheap, quick animation that is not going to be super perfect and it's not going to be Disney level. So be clear about that. But if you're still fine with learning from the mistakes I'm doing so that you don't have to make the same mistakes, be my guest. I'm sharing this for anybody who thinks it's useful. That's all for it today. Don't forget to click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, And also click the bell if you want to get annoyed by every single new video I upload and get a notification for that. If you can do that, great. If you help my channel grow, thank you very much. Bye-bye.